What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
That's how we're starting?
That's how we're starting this one.
Okay.
You told me to start this one. I'm not good at starting them.
Well,
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm great.
That's wonderful to hear. Now, I'm sure this is riveting audio for those who love our podcast.
Absolutely riveting. Should we start in a better way?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
They're in now. This is what they signed up for.
They're stuck.
Yeah.
This is the two friends chatting about whatever random thing comes into their heads podcast.
Such an original podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
a
don't
good-
think anyone does that.
No one else does that.
No.
It'd be a good title.
Yes. It might be, someone might have trademarked that because there are a few
Possibly.
podcasts.
There are a handful of people rambling about nothing podcasts, despite the innovative territory that we're covering. Hey, you and I are teaching at a writing conference this year.
We are on a boat.
On a boat.
On a boat.
On a ship. I think it's big enough you call it a ship.
That's right.
But we always say boat.
If you say boat, you're doing it to be amusing.
Oh.
Because it's not a boat. It's
not
ship.
a boat. It's a ship.
Boat conjures in the imagination. Us and some lucky
And like one person on
sitting.
a survival raft in
Yes.
the middle of the ocean.
Is that an excursion you can take?
Surrounded by sharks.
We're going to put you on a raft.
That is not, to my knowledge, an excursion that someone could sign up for. But if it were, somebody would.
Someone absolutely would.
Yeah.
Dan and Brandon, raft, sharks. All right, let's talk about writing.
Let's talk about which one of us gets eaten first.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
It would be me.
Why would it be you?
Because I'm delicious.
Oh. I mean,
I'm well marbled.
you would have to jump into the ocean first to get eaten first because we're on a raft, right?
Well, I'm not talking about eaten by sharks. I'm talking about eaten by, like, how long are we going to be out there?
I mean, it's the ocean. There's lots of fish. It's not
Okay.
like we're on the top of a mountain.
Where there's very few fish,
Where there's-
relatively speaking.
Very few fish.
We are giving the best possible pitch for this writing conference that we're doing. This is the Writing Excuses Retreat. In fact, this is the 10th such retreat. It's actually, the 10th year that we've done the retreats.
Mm-hmm. And 3 were at Mary Robinette's
Just 2.
ancestral home. 2. Okay.
The first 2. And then we've had, thus far, only 6 cruises, because 2020, for obvious reasons, our writing retreat was purely digital.
Yes.
But
So 6 on a boat, 2 in a house, 1 on Zoom.
1 on Zoom. And then this year, we are doing 1 at Capitol Reef. I don't know if I've told you about that one. You're not going to that one.
I'm not going to that one.
And then we're doing 1 on a cruise ship. So this is a week-long event. The Capitol Reef one is almost sold out. Though depending on when this episode airs, you will still be able to get it. It's end of June, early July, and it is me and Mary Robinette and Katie Coleman, who is an astronaut, down at a field station in Capitol Reef talking about space exploration and astronomy. It's going to be super cool.
And the one that we're doing is
in September.
It's in September.
It is on a cruise ship leaving out of Galveston. If anybody out there wants to go, this is probably the last time that we will ever have Brandon teaching on our writing
Probably.
retreat.
I mean, there's
Never
but it
say
is-
never.
I thought it was the last time you thought you were going to do it on a boat.
It is quite probably the last time we're ever going to do it on a boat.
Yeah. I think there's a chance it's on a boat in the future. There's a chance that I go in the future, but
Yeah.
my time has been filling up, and getting to this one was a real challenge, just because of the number of things I need to do, and I have been unable to go for a number of years, so I'm coming back for one last draw because it's the 10th anniversary.
And we're very excited to have you. If anybody out there wants to go, we are going to just Google Writing Excuses Retreat 2022, or maybe Adam will put a link to it in YouTube or something. But before we talk any more about this,
Okay.
I do believe that it is important for context to talk about maple syrup being stolen.
Okay.
Doesn't that seem appropriate?
It would be more appropriate if it were fish or the top of a mountain.
Maple syrup. I can't think of any time I've eaten maple syrup with fish on purpose.
Yeah, that sounds awful. Mostly because I don't like fish. So,
yeah.
I mean, I suppose I might like fish with maple syrup better than I like just regular fish.
Like it without?
Yeah. Depends on the
so
proportion of those two things.
The big famous food heist, the one that got me hooked on the genre, is the Great Maple Syrup Heist in Canada from years and years ago. And there's two things about it that have been in the news in like the past couple of weeks.
Ooh.
Okay, so number one, Canada's top court upheld the ruling, which is $9 million fine Canadian for the man convicted of stealing it. This was the largest maple syrup heist in history. It was July of 2012, and it was 3.4 million liters of syrup stolen. So not only is it amazing, not only is it delightful because maple syrup is hilarious,
right?
It's also, I think, the largest food heist I am aware of.
By money.
Yeah. Well, by money and I think by sheer volume. 3.4 million liters. Do we know of any that have been bigger than that?
I don't track these things, Dan. I didn't know of any food heists before we started this podcast, so I'm going to say no.
No.
I mean
the Red Bull's got to be close.
Yeah.
Red Bull, I don't think Red Bull was 3.4 million liters.
I don't know, 300 semi-trucks.
300 pallets, which was about 12 semi-trucks.
Okay.
This is way over that.
How did one,
how did they steal it?
Yeah.
It was super awesome. What they did is at night and at various times they would sneak into the warehouse where it was stored in barrels and they would siphon it out and replace it with water. So the barrels still had the same weight. As far as anyone was concerned, nothing was being taken out of the warehouse. And over the course of months, as far as I'm aware, they stole 3.4 million liters of maple syrup by carefully siphoning it out. Now, here's the other bit of awesome news. If you want to learn more about this, Amazon Prime Video has licensed it and is producing a movie about the Great Maple Syrup Heist.
Okay, that just actually made this kind of legit. So that's amusing to me.
Big executive producer on the project is Jamie Lee Curtis. I assume that means that she's in it.
Maybe, yeah.
As the main woman involved, whose name I think is Ruth.
Have you read her books?
Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
They're quite good.
She writes books?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
They're
awesome.
Picture books.
Cool.
We had them all when my kids were of the age, and they were quite high quality and well written. So, thumbs up to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Good job, Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay, so according to Amazon, the series revolves around, quote, Ruth Clark, a tough, supremely competent, middle-aged Canadian maple syrup farmer who's had it with being hemmed in by the polite, bureaucratic conventions native to her country's identity. I mean, can't you see Jamie Lee Curtis killing that role? It sounds fantastic. And she's like,
is she the
screw this.
heister?
Okay. One of the original news stories about it that I read absolutely implied that she was involved at some level. But as we have just learned from the news story, it's a dude who got the full brunt of the thing. And it may be that Ruth Clark was involved. I don't
know who Ruth Clark is. Is she the person that got stolen from? Like, that's what I'm asking. Who is this person in real life?
Yeah, she she is involved with it. With the help of Remy Bouchard, a pint-sized local blockhead, Amazon's words, not mine, and an aging Mike Byrne, a low-level mobster, Ruth changes her fate and transforms the future of her community with the theft of millions of dollars worth of maple syrup.
So it's painting the thieves as the protagonists.
Yeah.
So it's like
definitely
Great Train Robbery sort of stuff.
Doing this from their point of view,
Okay.
which makes this a crime caper, probably more so than a heist story.
Yeah.
To whatever extent those granular definitions are valuable. But yeah, whether that is Jamie Lee Curtis like in that role or she's just involved as a producer, big ups to her for bringing this story to the masses.
Yes, they deserve to know what we have known now for a good year as we have explored Dan's food heist fascination.
Yes. I will never grow tired of food heists. Oh, speaking of which.
Oh, no.
Speaking of, this is going to bring us back around to conferences and conventions. At Dragonsteel this November,
Yes.
I've talked to Kara, and I am trying to get on the schedule a food heist role-playing game live that I'll be running with some friends. Possibly. So I've talked to a friend of mine named Dax, and he had this brilliant idea of doing it as Mistborn, but they're Mistborn bears who are stealing the honey shard.
I'm baffled by this.
It's a Brandon Sanderson themed food heist.
You should be stealing salt then. Is salt a food?
Oh man. Boy, I don't know. What's the definition of food? Is gum food? Mark Rosewater?
It's gum food and is salt food. Salt provides nutrients, but not any calories.
No
Does
calories.
a food have to provide calories?
I mean, if it does, then plenty of drinks are no longer foods.
Is water a food? Is water its own subcategory or its own category separate from food?
I don't know.
We always say food and water, right?
Food and water.
Yes.
You need to have food and water.
Yep.
Boy, I don't know. I think in the terms of it depends on how narrow we want to get. If food is the category of things you need to consume in order to survive,
yes,
then I think salt is absolutely in there, right?
Okay.
Because isn't sodium like vital to the proper functioning of our bodies?
I believe that it is.
Yeah.
So there's an argument there. Where do you lie on this? You know, this got big on the internet. I don't want to do too much on it because it's a meme. But where do you lie on the is a hot dog a sandwich argument?
Hot dog's a taco, clearly.
Hot dog's a taco. Okay.
Yeah.
Is a taco a sandwich?
A taco is not a sandwich.
Okay.
Sandwich is two separate pieces of carbohydrates.
It's got to be separate. Okay.
Taco and hot dog, etc., pita, that's a single piece of carbohydrate that has stuff.
That's a good argument. I'll accept that one.
I don't know if that's
yeah. Is cereal a soup?
Is cereal a soup?
Yes, assuming you eat it with milk.
I don't know. I would say no because you don't cook it.
So soup has to be cooked? I bet we can find some soups that aren't.
Right? Like if soup does not have to be cooked, if soup is just any liquid that has a solid in it, then any random puddle that you find on the street is now suddenly leaf soup, right?
The leaf is not food. Leaves aren't food for us. Well,
sure, we eat leaves all the time.
Depends on the leaf. You can't go out and eat, can't go chomp down on the maple tree.
I mean, you shouldn't.
Yeah. I don't think
you'll gain anything.
I don't
from
think
it.
you.
It's mostly cellulose.
Foods, by definition, once it becomes garbage, it's no longer food.
Okay.
Right? Even though it's the same stuff.
Same stuff.
No longer food. So a puddle is not food either way.
A puddle. Okay. So in that case, I think I'm probably gonna err on the side of in order to become soup, it has to be cooked.
It has to be cooked.
I'm confident saying that. I can't think of any soups that have not been at some point cooked, right?
Okay. I'm pretty sure that I can that there are some soups out there. So let's see. Which chilled cold soups have I eaten? A lot of them are cooked and then chilled. You do have that argument. But you could argue that the milk has been cooked and the cereal's been cooked, and then both have been chilled.
Pasteurized.
Yes.
Okay, so if some liquid that has been cooked and then chilled is a soup,
yes,
that means Jell-O is a soup.
Jello is a non-Newtonian solid. I don't know what Jello is.
It's liquid, and you cook it, and sometimes you put solids into it, and then you have to chill it.
Now, because a cake is not a soup. If it's something is liquid and then you cook it and it solidifies, it stops being a soup.
Any sufficiently fatty soup will solidify in your fridge. Just most of the time, we heat them back up before we eat them, and with Jello,
and then they become soup again.
Yeah, well,
so the Jello's not a soup.
Does that mean that cold, like split pea soup is Jello until such time as it gets reheated to eat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm fine with that. As long as we're defining something poorly, I'm happy.
So we're writers. And we're supposed to be good with words.
By the barest definition.
Because we're taking people. We were going to talk about writing retreats today.
Yeah, let's talk about writing retreats.
First writing retreat we ever went to was the one in Texas, right? Is that the first one you and I went to together?
Well, and now we're getting back into genre definitions.
Yeah.
Is a writing conference a writing retreat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good...
Because the first one you and I went together was World Fantasy.
And we did not write at that
I wouldn't even call it a writing conference. It's more of a fiction conference.
It's more of a, industry conference.
It's industry. Yeah. It is writers getting together.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they did not talk about writing. I don't know if that has changed.
There are a decent number of writing panels, I feel, at
even back in the
Fantasy.
day?
Even back in the day, I think.
Huh. I know the WorldCon has started to do a lot more than they used to. I haven't been to World Fantasy for a long time, though.
So the cruise, would you say half retreat, half conference, or all conference?
Well, for the sake of definitions, let's define this. Is a writing retreat a place where you go in order to get some peaceful time and write?
Yes.
Whereas a writing conference is a place where you go in order to get some classes and or instruction in how to write. In that case, the writing retreat that we run, and let's be clear, this is you and me, Mary Robinette Kowal, and Howard Taylor.
Yes.
That is the core group of Writing Excuses, and we are the ones that run the Writing Excuses retreats. It is about, I was going to say half and half, but that's absolutely untrue. Because like the one we did last year, I taught 1 2 to 3 hour class every day. There were 2 sessions of breakout chapter critiques. And then the rest of it was all some combination of free writing time and or you are on a cruise ship and, hey, look, there's a hot tub.
Right. What about this one? Where's the balance going to be?
This one, I think that it's going to be about the same thing. We're going to have 1 writing class every day. Most of those, I think you're teaching.
Okay.
But we haven't actually talked about this in any great detail yet.
Yeah.
We are going to have a couple of sessions we want to record some Writing Excuses podcast episodes while we're there. And we want to do some breakout sessions that you, if you are teaching, will not be involved with the breakouts.
Right.
And so the breakout teachers are going to be me, Howard, Mary Robinette, and then Dongwon Song and Margaret Dunlap, who are, Dongwon is a really fantastic agent. Margaret is a TV writer who is super awesome. So,
now, this is not Writing Excuses, this podcast.
This one is not.
We're not going to talk about, the usefulness of writing retreats. We're going to talk about the goofy stuff that you and I have experienced and like what they feel like to us, right? Like this is a shoot the breeze podcast, not a teach you how to write. And we will occasionally stray into
we do. When we did the big industry focused one where we talked about your Kickstarter and kind of the publishing industry, people loved that one. But that's a subset of people. Yeah. And we want to make sure that while we occasionally do a really writing focused one or business focused one, most of them are us just yakking about Jello soup. You didn't answer. Do you think cereal's a soup?
I think cereal's a soup.
You think cereal's a soup, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a soup is anything where you are intending to get the liquid and the solid together right? Like them separate is not as interesting to you as them together at once. And so I think cereal is a soup,
Cereal's a soup.
just a breakfast soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a meaningful distinction between soup and stew? Other than you've cooked stew longer, so it's thicker?
I think a stew is a subset of soup.
Okay.
It's a type of soup.
So in the phylogenetic tree,
Yes.
we have soup, which subdivides into, very brothy soups, very stewy soups, very cold cereal-y soups.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does that include hot cereal? Like a bowl of cream of wheat?
Bowl of cream of wheat is moving away from soup. It's in that no man's land where it's, I don't think a bowl of pasta is a soup.
Okay.
Even with a very runny sauce. And so there's like this no man's land where you're moving away from soup into something else. You can have a soupy bowl of pasta, which is like, this bowl of pasta is way too close to that line for me.
See, that implies then that it might hinge on which ingredient is the base and what are you adding to it. If it's pasta that you put sauce over,
right,
you could presumably put enough sauce over the top of it that it is then pasta swimming in sauce.
Yes.
But it's still a pasta dish, primarily not a sauce dish.
Right.
So cereal, does that fall into the same category?
No, 'cause
that
you
it
want
is
them
a
both.
solid and then you just pour milk over the top of it?
No, I think it's still a soup.
Okay.
I think it is. That's just what it is to me. Because minestrone is when you cross the line into soup from pasta.
Minestrone.
Yes, because it usually has pasta in it.
That's the hybrid.
Yeah. No, that's a soup.
Okay.
That's just the soup version of a pasta dish.
Okay. The soupiest pasta. Okay.
Yep. When the line is a very thick minestrone turning into a spaghetti with very thin sauce on it.
Okay. What about tapioca pudding?
Ooh,
'Cause
tapioca
tapioca is
pudding.
a pasta,
Yeah.
and then you turn it into this weird solid, sort of.
It's in the no man's land. It's in the pudding no man's land.
Okay.
It's pudding is its own thing, right? Like rice pudding, not a soup.
Not a soup.
Nope.
Not a pasta.
Nope.
Man,
It's a pudding.
it's a pudding.
Yeah. In fact, Jello's a pudding.
I
That's
do
what
believe
Jell-O is.
that it was the ancient Greek, biologists who said that pudding just arises naturally out of mud, like toads.
Out of mud. I think pudding arises out of sitting an empty bowl sitting in the back of your fridge.
It just, if you put an empty bowl in your
Yes.
fridge, it will spontaneously grow its own pudding.
Eventually, when you're cleaning your fridge, you're like, "Is this pudding?" That's because
Okay.
Yeah, it grew naturally over time.
Awesome.
Just formed there. Spontaneous generation. Yeah.
Okay. Well, have you been to other writing retreats aside from the ones that we run?
I've never been to a writing retreat other than the ones that
The
you
ones
run.
that we run.
And it actually kind of taught me that writing retreats, so it depends on what you count. Is one person going somewhere by themselves, is that a writing retreat? When I go to Hawaii and take my family with the express intent that I'm getting a hotel that's by the beach because I like to watch the ocean while I write, and I'm spending a week writing, is that a writing retreat? I'm not changing much about my daily activities except I'm doing it in Hawaii.
I don't know. I kind of think that a writing retreat implies some level of official group activity.
Because Dave would call a writing retreat, our mentor, when he was just like, I need to get a book done. And he would fly to a hotel somewhere, and usually not somewhere very exciting because he didn't want to be distracted. And he would spend a couple weeks in the hotel room finishing his book and fly home. And he called that a writing retreat
That's a writing retreat.
for him.
Okay.
He's retreating from his normal life and focusing on the writing.
That absolutely makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it can be a solo thing can be a writing retreat. It does not require other people involved.
Then I have been to
You
other
have
writing
been
retreats.
to many others, but they're all your own.
They're all my own.
Okay.
They are the leave me alone so I can write, and I'm going to do it in a place where I enjoy the scenery.
It's very good of you to take your family with you on those. Because if I want to get work done,
Yeah.
I could not take my family with me.
You do have 17 children.
I do, at
Yeah.
least.
At least.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track.
Most of my children exist in a state of quantum indeterminacy,
Yes.
and they are between 2 and 4 children each
Yeah.
at any given moment.
Yeah. I mean, I have seen them where I swear that, Lincoln has been on 2 sides of the room at once.
Yeah.
So, if not 4 sides of the room.
Lincoln is absolutely,
Yeah.
on the upper end of that how
Yeah.
many children are you spectrum.
Yep. So, thing is, my kids, I have this different, how shall I say? Most of my writer friends had kids before they became professional writers.
Mm-hmm.
I have always, as far as my kids know, been a professional writer.
Yeah.
And Joel was, I met Emily after I'd sold Elantris, right? It was published. And so my kids do a better job than most I've known at respecting the boundaries between my writing time and my not writing time. Because they never had to get used to anything else. It's not that they are, so wonderful or well raised that they just, this is how their life has always been. Dad is always in the bedroom writing during these hours, and we don't interrupt him.
Yeah, which is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So they know, and so going to Hawaii, they do kid stuff. They go swim, and they're old enough now that they basically can be like, where are they? Oh, they're somewhere, and it's safe-ish.
It's relatively safe.
We don't do that in Hawaii because there is surf and things like that. But on like a cruise ship, when we took them on the cruise ship, we could be like, all right, goodbye.
There's kid activities.
Yeah.
Go do them.
Or not.
Yeah.
Just don't jump overboard or hurt anyone.
The time that we took your and my kids when they were like both 8 or both 9 or whatever, those little dirtbags just refused to participate in any cruise activities.
They wanted to play Minecraft together.
Yeah.
On laptops.
And that is all they wanted to do the whole time.
Yeah.
They found the ice cream dispenser.
Yes.
Which was just 24 hours cranking out soft serve ice cream. They figured out where they could get free French fries.
Yep.
And then that's all they did.
Minecraft. It's a Minecraft retreat for them. They don't get enough Minecraft in their everyday lives. Going on a retreat to catch up on Minecraft, it's whatever.
Sometimes you really need to finish a big build that you're working on.
Yes.
And it's worth it for an 8-year-old to do it on a cruise ship, away from other distractions.
Yeah. I still don't know if anyone's coming with me on this one.
On this one?
Yeah. Because I seem to recall, us talking about it. I'm like, oh, give me the big room. You're like, how big a room? I'm like, I don't know, a big room-ish, because I thought I might have someone with me. And I think you went and got me the biggest room.
Well, we didn't get you the biggest room.
That's good.
I can't remember what room we got you, actually.
Because it turns out I don't need a big room because I don't think
well, and we might have knocked you down to just like a balcony room,
which would be perfect.
Which would be good.
Yes.
Not one of the balconies where because the rest of the instructors, like Dongwon and Mary Robinette and we always get 3 balcony rooms in a row.
Yes.
And take down the walls between the balconies, so we just have a giant shared balcony.
Right.
I can't imagine you would want that.
Nope. We were talking about this. I learned that I don't want to be on a writing retreat generally with other people. Because a lot of writers, writing is so solitary that having once in a while something where you've got somebody else around that you can talk to and bounce ideas off, or even just talk about what's going on after your writing sessions or things, that is something that a lot of writers crave.
Yeah.
And they love writing retreats for that reason. I do not want that. I am...
Well, you have already structured your entire life and career in a certain way that is working, working a little too well, perhaps, because you keep writing extra books. And so you don't need that kind of thing because you already have what you need. And
so a retreat is purely disruptive unless it's one that I have scheduled for myself to just be in a place where I want to write.
Yeah.
I do enjoy hanging out with my friends. And so I had to change my mindset to enjoy doing these because it's like, I'm not going to get work done. The first few, I thought I was going to get work done, and they were really frustrating for me then because there were so many other distractions that I got much less work done than I would just at home have done on my own. And that was kind of frustrating. And then I changed my mindset to, I am here as a teacher. This is a conference for me. This is not a writing retreat. And that helped.
Well, and that's the thing is from our end, this one in particular, because we run it, I have to think of it as a conference and not as a retreat because I'm not getting any free time out of it. And I am a little more energized by people than you are. And so I can spend my week just kind of interacting with people and not getting any work done and be pretty happy the whole time. So, but.
Yeah, that's one of the odd things. If I'm not getting writing done, my happiness goes down. If I don't feel like I'm making progress on whatever project I'm working on, then I'm not going to have a good time. My wife often talks about this, that I don't enjoy vacations. I can get less done. Like if I schedule a thing and I'm like, well, I'm on vacation with my family, I'm not getting as much writing done. If I don't get any, then I will be discontent.
Yeah. Well, and I understand that. I feel a similar way, but on a much different scale.
Yeah.
Like I just today, I finished the Dark One first draft, that manuscript. Hooray!
Huzzah!
Which means typically that I will take a couple of days off in between projects so I can kind of recharge the batteries and, acquire a new target and make sure I'm aiming at it correctly before I dive in and do another thing. If that period goes on for more than 1 or 2 days, I will actually start to fall into what I have come to recognize as a very depressive spiral. But that is a couple of days,
Right.
Which is very different from, I've just had a day with only 2 hours of writing instead of 9 or whatever it is. So what do you think about the proliferation of writing instruction in our industry? Because I think it has really, since the time you and I were trying to break in, there have always been writing conferences, Clarion and things like that. But it seems to have grown drastically over the last, let's say, 15 years. And we're certainly a part of that with Writing Excuses. But what are your thoughts there? There's so many more writing conferences and writing podcasts and writing things now than there used to be.
I think it is a natural outgrowth of the social media era and of the indie publishing era. You're the one that pointed out that 2012 more books were published that year than the history of mankind, humankind.
So there's a lot more people who want to learn this stuff.
There's a lot more people who want to learn it. The tools are there for you to be able to learn it remotely. And more people are writing. So even if you have to travel, there are more people wanting to travel to these things. I think that education about, how shall we say, popular art topics has grown in prestige and maybe only a little, but still has, and in execution, meaning people are better at it than they used to be. The idea in the days before people were publishing 6 books a year on Amazon. In the what's the group? The 20 to 50K?
20 books to 50K.
20 books to 50K. Before that whole crowd, of which I have enormous respect, existed, the idea of this lone writer off in the woods, imagining something and needing no business sense or writing instruction could remain this myth. And as we've gotten to know each other, write more, the community has grown, we've all come to understand better what writing education can and can't do. And there are good places for it. And you and I often bring up the class I took from Dave. I had years of writing education in the university that was not very effective for me. Did not help very much. And this is no slight upon the professors. They just didn't know how. The system was set up for creating people who were supposed to go off and be that lone writer, doing a Thoreau and living in their friend's backyard, and things like that. And then Dave came in and said, all right, here's how you construct a plot. Here's how you make a sympathetic character. Here's what a contract looks like. And I spent that class in a perpetual state of my jaw drop to the floor, just being like, this is what I needed.
He was the first person. This was when we were, like 21, 22 years old. He was the first person in my entire life that had ever not only told me that it was possible to make a living as an artist, but how to make a living as an artist. Because we don't typically teach that in any kind of standard educational system. So you're right. In that sense, it does make a lot of sense that would be a popular thing in alternative forms of education.
And I think we've gotten better and better at it. I think writing education has improved. So there's that. I also think there is, particularly in the early 2000s, and I'm sorry, I want to hear what you think on this too. Sorry. But you opened a can of worms here. Early 2000s, there was this, as the social media boom happened, authors needed to have an angle in order to self-promote. This was very big, particularly back then. It's like, what are you talking about on your blog and on your social media that is of interest to people other than your books? Because if your social media feed is, here's how to get my books. I'm sure you guys have subscribed to someone's Twitter feed that's like, every 6 hours, a bot posts, buy my new book. Then you either start ignoring or unsubscribe to that social media feed. And so there's, what can you talk about that's interesting? Writers all share an expertise. Writing. It's an easy jump to, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about how to do it. I think that need for an angle is still there. What we're starting to see now is a lot. I mean, I won't say fewer writers are talking about writing, because I think that's still proliferating wildly. But there's also a lot of societal, cultural, and lifestyle angles. Like, here, I am part of this small group that you might not know much about. Read my blog or follow my Twitter feed, and you can learn about it. Also, please buy my book.
I'm thinking maybe I should go full on Instagram personality / influencer.
Become an influencer?
Yeah. I mean, I already have the name, B Money, right? Yeah. So I'm thinking people really want to hear about my lifestyle of sitting in a chair and typing for 8 hours a day. I think it's really exciting.
If you made a full-on influencer parody Instagram account where you dressed as B Money and then posted the most mundane, pathetic pictures of you doing perfect. Nothing.
Right. Here's me with my posse getting ready for, quite the exciting day. And then it's like me and
your bird sitting on your shoulder.
No, the bird can't sit on my shoulder. He'll distract me from writing.
That's true.
Yeah. So he's got to be in his aviary.
And then 17 hashtags, writer life.
Yeah. And then it's just like 8 pictures that day of me in the exact same pose, doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. With different captions every time.
Different captions,
Just wrote a killer action scene, but it's the same photo of you just staring at a laptop.
Adam, he's liking this idea.
That's perfect.
That's pretty good. I'm on board with this idea.
I like that.
We talked about, didn't we? The attempts to get a reality show starring writers going.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We talked about.
And there was just no way to make
it interesting.
Writing look interesting. At the same time, one of the things that surprised me when I sold my first book, which was like 1.5 years, 2 years after you sold yours, maybe it was 3 years. Anyway, I asked you what should I be ready for, and the main thing you told me was that when you sell that first book, you think you're getting into that writer life where you're going to spend your whole time writing. Really, half or less of your time is spent writing, and the rest of it is you're running a business.
Yeah.
You have to focus on all of this other stuff. whether that's promotion or marketing or contracts or taxes or whatever it is. And so, yeah, I mean, you could still take the same really boring photos, but it's you looking at, an email from your accountant instead of looking at a word processor. But I did have this very false image in my head of the writer in a coffee shop with a beret.
Ooh.
Just writing
Ooh.
on the side of the River Seine.
Should I be wearing a beret? Man.
And a black turtleneck that
Yeah.
comes up to here. And no,
Beret.
that's not what we do.
No, it's not.
I wish that's what we did. That's my goal in life, is to be so successful I never have to interact with people again.
I get to do that, what you just described, 1 week every 2 years or so.
Wow.
When I get to go on the writing retreat. And
Teach
that's
a class a day and then lock yourself in a room and write. That's perfect. Do you get seasick?
I do not get seasick, or at least I haven't before. Doesn't mean that I won't. But I won't on a cruise, right? But I've been on an actual boat in rough waters, and I didn't get seasick then. But who knows, right?
Okay. Yeah. The boat, you can rarely even tell, at least I can't, that you're on one.
No, there's just this, depends on the size of the ship, but there's this kind of gentle, soft rocking. It's actually quite soothing.
Yeah.
How's that been?